Chumba Yanda Pan Zobe Sanje Rikpa Dan Shazo Demba Devra Shepa Jiden Kibun Dube Kalon Yurwa Lana Meba Lada Minangi Dumba Sanje Jumden Pege Wa Shaja Tuba La Shaza Lo Chodo Yazu Jeba Rajumba Yanda Pan Zobe Sanje Rikpa Dan Shazo Demba Devra Shepa Jiden Kibun Dube Kalon Yurwa Lana Minangi Dumba Sanje Jumden Pege Wa Shaja Tuba La Shaza Lo Chodo Yazu Yanda Baran Zobe Sanje Rikpa Dan Shazo Demba Devra Shepa Jiden Kemba Kibun Dube Lana Meba Lana Minangi Dumba Sanje Jumden Tuba La Shaza Lo Chodo Yazu De la Gomba Dumbo Ne Hane Jigden Dina Choeje Rinpoche Keba Kyola Shaza Tunga Chodo Susan Wa Yishin Gyazo Seke Lumbo Taba Jigden Suna Gombo Juni Jula Jaza Lo Zenjo Demba Temen Dawe She Sedon Rawa Kyola Shaza Dude Gela Seba Sumaji Nyame Kenje Kela Shaza Lo Shedemba Tamje Kempe Dumba Bo Sunama Yende Gyazu Jin Dishe Shela Shaza Lo Taben Dusha Trewa Gyur Gewe Ngeson Le Drujin Chidu Sunama Shoyu Shiguru Jula Shaza Lo Runen Druwe Lamyang Laba Tala Shingi Damba Yende Dengen Layan Shaza Lo Shaza Lo Gyoba Jula Shaza Lo Hindu Jela Shaza Lo Sunla Tado Pujaze Le Dieu Baye Nangundo Chodo Debe Shaza Lo Nija Jinge Wa Puzno Sobaranje Range Sine Yongson Dene Sange Demba Kamara Re Mame Dan Yuma Sepa Chugo Dan Mela Lo Dan Jinda Wo Tuje Shuna Tetra Da Tamje Seba Yengo Wa Domne Gyunge Radu De Nadan Nadan Chive La Drobe Sebe Zome Drowa Drowara
We are on page 5, the praise to Manjushri.
Jizu Jambe Yangla Cha Cha Lo Angi Lo Dre Jinye Jinde Yeda Nanda Rasa Jinye Dungun Jishe Zije Nige Lugra Levanze Anda Sibe Sura Mare Medon Dune Gizewe Tozo Gula Buji Taze Yala Juju Yangye So Shedro Nyemo Nyemo Legi Jadro Jose Chi Mari Muse Dunge Nyubo Jinye Shunze Radina Dune Taje Saju Taze Yende Muzo Gyase Du Juda Juda Juni Gende Dalu Mesa Chambe Yangla Du Yudi Kera Zegi Dalu Dimo Mebara Sene Toba Ye Loju Bobe Nawa Sedusu.
Next page, the Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra.
Aba Kunjo Sumla Cha Zalo Dige Dage Devan Tujena Chumden De Gyaru Kawa Chabu Hongwe Gilongi Gindu Chenpo Dan Chanju Senbe Gindu Chenpo Dan Tabshi Doshu De Te Chumden De Samu Nangwa Shi Choeje Namdang Dingen Zenla Nyambara Shuzo Yang De Se Chanju Senpa Senpa Papa Jinre Se Wanju Shira Ye Maru Do Shenpa Same Jeba Nila Nambara Tashin Pombo Ngabo Teta Laya Ranshin Ge Tongpa Namba Tene Sanje Ge Tu Sedan Tenpa Shari Bu Chanju Senpa Senpa Chenpo Papa Jinre Se Wanju Dige Je Mezo Rige Bu Kanla La Shira Ge Paru Do Shenpa Same Jeba Jebaran Deba Jida Laba Cha Dige Je Meba Dan Chanju Senpa Senpa Chenpo Papa Jinre Se Wanju Sedan Tenpa Shari Enda De Pulan Dige Je Mezo Shari Pu Rige Pom Rige Kanla La Shira Ge Paru Do Shenpa Same Jeba Jebaran Deba Dida Namba Tawa Shade Pombo Ngabo Teta Laya Ranshin Ge Tongpa Nam Yang Daba Jisu Tao Su Tongpa O Tongpa Ni Su 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 Le Tongpa Ni She Ma Yin Tongpa Ni Le Su Shen Ma Yin No Ti Shen Do Surwa Dan Du Je Dan Nambra Sheba Nam Tongpa O Shari Bu Teta Chutam Tongpa Ni De Sin Ye Me Ba Ma Ye Ba Ma Ga Ba Chi Ma Me Ba Chi Ma Dan Che Wa Me Ba Chi Wa Tangwa Me Ba O Shari Bu Teta We Na Tongpa Ni La Su Me So Wa Me Du She Me Du Je Me Nambra Sheba Me Mi Me Na Wa Me Na Me Che Me Lu Me Yi Me Su Me Ra Rume Risha Me Chu Me Do Mi Ge Kam Me Ba Ne Yi Ge Kam Me Yi Ge Nambra Shebe Kam Ge Pardo Yang Me Do Ma Re Ba Me Ma Re Ba Se Ba Me Ba Ne Ga Shi Sebe Pardo Yang Me Do Ti Shen Do Du Me Wa Tang Kun Jung Wa Tang Go Ba Tang La Me Yi She Me Do Ba Ma Do Ba Yang Me Do Shari Pu Ne Da Me Na Chanju Senpa Nam To Ba Me Be Shira Ge Paru Do Shenpa La Ten Je Ne De Sen La Je Ba Me Je Cha Ba Me De Chin Je Lo Le Shin Do Den Yang E Le Da Be Tara Shin Do Tu Sum Do Nambara Shu Be San Je Tam Je Yang Shira Ge Paru Do Shenpa La Ten Me Ba Yang Do Ba Zo Be Shang Shu Do Nam Ba Zo Ba San Ge Do Te Da We Na Shira Ge Paru Do Shenpe Nga Ri Ba Shenpe Nga La Na Me Be Me Nya Ba Da Nye Be Nga Du Nge Tam Che Ra Do Shi Ra Che Be Nga Me Zun Be Na De Ba She Ba Cha De Shira Ge Paru Do Shenpe Me Ba De Ya Ta Ga De Para Sam Ga De Bodhi So Ha Shari Po Chanju Senpa Teta Shira Ge Paru Do Shenpa Samo La Labra Chawa Tene Chum Den De Dingen Zen Tete Chanju Senpa Shenpo Papa Jinre Se Wangju La Le So She Chawa Jine Le So Rige Po Tete Shen Rige Po Tete Shen De Jidra Kyuge Tenpa Shen So Shira Ge Paru Do Shen Samo La Jebara Chade Di Shen Sheba Nam Jiang She So Yi Rang Mo Chum Den Dige Je Ka Sedan Tenpa Shari Da De Pudan Chanju Senpa Shenpo Papa Jinre Se Wangju Dan Tam Che Dan Tenpe Koro Teta Adam Mi Dan Lama Yi Dan Jisa Jebe Jik Den Yi Rang De Chum Den Dige Sumba Numbara Du Do De Ya Ta Ga De Para San Ga De Bodhi So Ha Papa Kunju Sungi Ka Ye Tenpe Toki Vidime Chodam Je Jire Boba Yuji Meba Yuji Shiwa Yuru Chi Gire Tundra Yaju Shiwa Tam Mide Nebe Geda Tumbaran Rubje Bezumo Zo Yube Rashi Deyan Tendren Dele Shu
So today we are doing the requesting mandala. So on page 12, the long mandala offering requesting teachings.
Ye Chödang Soye Chonam La Chanchu Batu Dane Gyasu Chi Dami Choke Jive Sonam Ye Chola Benche Sanje Chola Sanje Chödang Soye Chonam La Chanchu Batu Dane Gyasu Chi Dami Choke Jive Sonam Ye Chola Benche Sanje Chola Soye Chonam La Chanchu Batu Dane Gyasu Chi Dami Choke Jive Sonam Ye Chola Benche Sanje Chola Okay. So we are here today going to learn a little bit on wisdom from a Buddhist point of view. And we have been studying this chapter 6 of the Bodhisattva way of life. I think last time, maybe 3 years ago. And so we will continue, and it was this chapter, wisdom chapter teaching was requested by Cherry, and last time we didn't complete, so I said I will do the continue teaching on this wisdom, because wisdom is one of the most important factor in Tibetan Buddhism, especially we say wisdom, and it is the direct translation of Sanskrit word prajna, and when the Sanskrit word prajna is translated into Tibetan, then there is we call it sherab. So there is a 2 syllable on it. And Sanskrit also has a 2 syllable, like prajna, prajna. And I don't know, in English, this wisdom, even though it has a 2 syllable, I don't know the meaning. What is each syllable means. But I can explain it from what I understand, because Tibetan is my first language. And so in Tibetan, when we say she, rab, so these 2 syllable actually carries the meaning of what is the wisdom, actually. And she actually simply means knowing, to know. And also sometimes we translate the she also like aware, sort of like awareness. And so wisdom is not just awareness. We are aware of many things, right? We have so many awareness. We wake up in the morning until we go to sleep. There are tons of awareness. Or like sometimes we are aware of kind of like the weather, aware of the sound from the neighbor, aware of like so many things that all this awareness. So somehow all this awareness that we have, all the things that we know, are they wisdom or not? So it only carries the meaning of one syllable of the wisdom. Only it is a share. Just kind of like a knowing part is there, and the being awareness, like a being aware part is there. So that is why the next syllable, which is the ra, she, ra, the second syllable, actually brings the meaning, total meaning of the wisdom. Because ra, what is meant by ra in Tibetan? Ra means supreme. Supreme. So it is kind of like so now if you put the two words together, what is it showing? It is the meaning is showing supreme awareness, right? Supreme awareness. So that means that all the awareness are not supreme. So like how can we actually kind of like turn the like general awareness into supreme awareness? So when our awareness become a supreme, what is the quality? What kind of quality it needs to make our awareness supreme? So that is why wisdom carries this meaning of like supreme awareness. So supreme awareness of what? That's the big question, right? Awareness, if just kind of you're being aware of the tree, being aware of a car, being aware of the weather, are they just a wisdom or no? So from the Tibetan Buddhist point of view, we say that this is not the wisdom. So wisdom, sort of like to be aware, to become a supreme awareness, then like the object of the awareness should be the truth, the reality, the truth of what it is. So somehow this seeking for truth is just kind of like naturally we all have, whether you are whether you believe in something or don't believe in something, or whether you are religious, non-religious, as long as someone who has a mind, then like somehow we all wanted to know the truth, right? There is some sort of like a tendency, right? We all have a tendency to know the truth, and so that's kind of like, if we look back into the human history, like there are so many people, every time what they are doing is they are always looking to find what is the truth, right? So that actually brings a big question, right? It's a big question. So what is the truth? And what is the truth that we are looking for? And at the same time, why are we looking for the truth? Did anybody tell us to look for the truth? Nobody told us. It is just kind of inborn seeking kind of like will that we have, right? We just kind of like, since we were like a little, when we have an awareness, and then always, what is the truth? What is the truth? What is the truth behind it? And then we kind of like simply begin with this kind of like a question, why, right? Like if you notice the little kids, when they're starting to speak, and they kind of, when they are starting to become a little bit of more aware, then they're starting to ask why, why, and then so that shows that somewhere we are always looking for the truth. The truth of what? So then, what kind of truth we are looking for? Like, so mainly the truth of ourself. Sort of like, who am I? That's the question. And who am I? And what am I? Who am I? Like what am I like? And somehow like we are always looking for. We always know that we have a name, right? We are labeled as this name, that name. People call us with this name, and somewhere we know that we are not just a name, right? We are not just. We are kind of like we all feel that there is something more. There is something more. It is like who am I, and what am I here for, right? What am I doing here in this world? like what is the purpose? What am I looking for? And somewhere there is like, if we really look into it, this wanting to know, this very strong will to understand the truth, and on other hand, what do we have? Is we have this wanting to be happy, right? There's like wanting to know the truth, wanting to be happy. So there's a two kind of like these things always going on. It's just like I wanted to be happy, and that is why I want to know the truth. I want to know the truth because if I know the truth, I will become happy, right? So kind of like we all have this will or kind of strong desire to know the truth, to understand or to generate this supreme awareness or supreme wisdom. So that is why kind of like not only in the Buddhist practice or spiritual development, I think in our general life, sort of like we want to sort of like bring wisdom in us, that we always wanting to know more and more and more. And so there is kind of like a somewhere there is always a what do you call? We are hungry for the truth. It's like it is like sometimes I can use word like food for your soul, right? It's just kind of like looking, but then we search, and many times, like whatever we are searching for the truth, the more we go into the searching for the truth, then the more confused we become, right? The more confused we become, and then many times we just kind of like we just give up. We just say, okay, just what is truth? I don't know. I don't care. We kind of many times we reach to that level, and then just like I don't care. I think it is like, and then on the top of that, there are too many philosophies, right? There are too many philosophies in different religious tradition has a different philosophy, different culture has a different philosophy, and we have so many information, and especially in this day and age, that the information age, we can just everybody can go and Google, and you want to know something, and you just put that keyword, and it will give you a tons of information, right? And this all information that we get, then like if we just go into it, a little bit overwhelming. It's just like, which one? I don't know which one to believe now. And then like many times people just come up with, okay, I will just believe what some people tell me to believe. And so there are many kind of like a religious group, the followers, that they are just kind of, what do you call? They are just kind of, because they don't want to search no more, and so they just kind of stop. They just stop. So I think stopping is also not good, that because it just kind of deep inside what it leaves is, it leaves some big hollow, like emptiness in us, that we feel sort of like empty, and then it is just kind of like naturally we are always looking for the truth. So that is why kind of like this chapter on wisdom is very important. And so in this chapter 6, actually Master Shantideva. Shantideva was an Indian scholar. He was the, like the ancient scholar, actually 8th century master. And so somehow, his way of teaching and kind of like helping us to find the wisdom, the supreme awareness, is very simple, yet very profound. And if we actually look at the original text of his text, and his actually original text was written in Sanskrit, and then later it was translated from Sanskrit into Tibetan, and then we can find many translations from Tibetan to English. And so today actually we are using this translation. Whose translation is that?
Stephen Batchelor.
Stephen Batchelor's translation. So he was one of the American, right? He's American who studied Buddhism like a long time, and he put this English translation together. So there are actually few translations of this Bodhisattva way of life. So we are using this translation, and I think you have all the handout paper in your hand, right? And so I was thinking, because original text was very simple, and then also the translation seems very simple, and so we will just kind of go and study and learn how Master Shantideva actually present us on the wisdom and how to develop wisdom. So I think without taking too much explanation, just kind of if I summarize the general summary or the just kind of brief explanation of this chapter, that Shantideva actually put it together by saying, how he actually put it is first verses, right? The first verses, if you look into this paper handout, all of these practices were taught by the Mighty One for the sake of wisdom. So here, all of those practices were taught, means there are actually some people say that it is just right, go to the 8th chapter, because the chapter 8 is on meditation. So some people actually explain it all that is taught in the 8th chapter. So many Tibetan master actually says that actually it actually goes all those practice were taught. The practice also from the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, until chapter 8, which was all on bodhicitta, and then practice of bodhisattva. There are actually 5 perfection practice, right? 5 perfection practice are normally we count it as we say 6 perfection, but wisdom is the 6th one. So there are other 5. So those other 5s are we counted it as a jimbe parjin, means the practice perfection of generosity. So practice of generosity is the first one, and then the second is the tsudimgi paraduchimba, means practice perfection of morality. That is the second one, and then the third one is sebe parjin, means practice of patience, perfection of patience, and then the fourth one is the perfection of enthusiasm, enthusiasm, sort of so that is the fourth one. And the fifth one is the perfection of meditation. So there are other 5 perfections. So I think when Shantideva was actually saying all of these practices were taught, so earlier in all the 8 chapters, what he taught was, he taught on how to generate or how to practice generosity, how to practice morality, how to practice patience, how to practice kind of enthusiasm, kind of bringing, how to bring like an enthusiastic, sort of like joyful effort. And then chapter 8 is mostly on the meditation, how to meditate and all these things. So these, like if you look into these verses, all of these practice were taught. So this is all the practice. By the mighty one means mighty, actually translation is a little bit kind of, they call it mighty one. Who is the mighty one here? The mighty one, they actually refer to the Buddha Shakyamuni. So it is saying like by the Buddha for the sake of wisdom. So it is kind of like, so he's showing the importance of the wisdom, because all the 5 perfections, to be able to make these perfection practice, you have to have a wisdom. So that is why Buddha taught, like whatever Shantideva has taught on the practice of 5 perfections, it was kind of like taught by Buddha. So Buddha actually taught all these in the in the beginning, and then like at the end he taught the wisdom. And why? Because wisdom, it is for the sake of wisdom, to generate the wisdom. So somehow among all these practice or perfections, wisdom is the most important practice. That is what Shantideva is saying. So that is, he summarized it. He summarized the meaning of the chapter, is saying that why he's going to teach on this chapter is because wisdom is very important. Because to be able to have the practice of other 5 perfection, you have to have the wisdom practice. And without wisdom practice, the other practice will not become perfect, in some level. So that is why by the, first 2 line is like that. So then the 3rd and 4th line, he said, therefore, those who wish to pacify suffering, right? Those who wish to pacify suffering should generate this wisdom. So this is like the reason. So wisdom is the most important part in your spiritual development and also for your mental development. And why? Because we all wanted to be happy, right? We just kind of like wanting to be happy is just kind of instinctively, right? We want to be happy. Nobody actually taught us, or nobody forced us to look for happiness. We are looking for happiness. And therefore, those who wish to pacify suffering. So if you really want to pacify, or if you really want to, to be happy. So pacifying suffering means to be happy, right? When you are happy, you actually pacify. Dunge Shiva. Dunge Shiva means you are kind of like you overcoming the suffering. So pacifying here also means like Shiva means overcome, overcoming the suffering. So those who wish to overcome suffering, or those who wish to become happy, should generate this wisdom. So he's actually showing a very strong connection between like being happy and generating wisdom, right? So it's kind of like you have to generate wisdom to be happy, and if you want to be happy, then you have to generate wisdom. See, this kind of like so this is the first stanza of the chapter, and somehow this is also the the summary of the chapter. And then if you kind of go into the more kind of like in-depth into this chapter, then how he actually present the wisdom and what the knowing the truth, like what is the truth. So he actually come up with this saying that when we are looking for the truth, what is the reality, then he came with there are 2 truths. There are 2 truths. So what are the 2 truths? So one is the relative truth and one is the ultimate truth. So this relative truth, in Tibetan, what we say kunzup demba. Kunzup demba means kind of like the deceptive or if I put it in a very simple English language, then it means a kind of like a delusional, or kind of like a, what do you call, fake. Right? Kunzup means fake or false. So, kind of like the first relative truth is like a deceptive truth, or the relative truth is a kind of like it is very deceiving actually. So what is the deceptive truth? What is the relative truth actually? So the relative truth is things that appears in our mind. Everything that is appeared, the appearance of our, all the things that appears. For example, when I say everything that appears in your mind, or everything that is appear in your eyes, everything that appears in your ears, everything that appears in your nose, everything that appears to your tongue, everything that appears to your body senses, everything that appears in your notion or concept. What do you think? Now this become a very huge, right? Everything that appears. So somehow it is saying that it is a deceptive truth. Why is it called deceptive? Why is it called relative truth? Because somehow it is on one level it is truth to, like the things that appears in our eye is the truth to our eyes, our eye consciousness. But the question is it a real truth or not?
No.
That's not a real truth, because that is why it is a relative truth and not the ultimate truth. So somehow why it is not ultimate truth? Because it is a, what do you call, deceptive, right? Oops.
Yeah, that's a fake sound.
So now this mic is also deceptive. Yeah, okay. All right. Battery is okay. Anyway, I think you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, appearance, that's what we call appearance. And what do you think of the appearance? The appearance, and then another level of the truth is called the existence, right? Existence. So, you think there is a two different thing? Like things that appear and things that exist, right? There are many things, almost all the things that appears in our physical senses or in our mind, they don't exist as it appears. That's true, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Like everything.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we give the example of for example, there is one flower. So you just put one flower in the middle of, circle. And then in this circle, you put 10 different people. Okay? So 10 different people, you put one person in the east, one person in the west, one person in the south, one person in the north, and then put 4 others in the corner, so that 8, right? 8 people there. And then you put one person looking from the upward, and then you put one under the glass, okay, looking at this flower from the down. Okay? So now there are 10 different people looking at the same flower. And the question is, among these 10 people, who is seeing the existence of the flower? Who is actually seeing in their appearance? The person who is in the east only see that part, right? The part that is, but that person actually doesn't see the complete flower. It doesn't see the complete flower, the existence of the flower. How the flower is not seen by the person who is in the east. Same thing with the west, north, south corner. upside and then downward. These all 10 people looking at the same flower, but no one has the complete appearance of the flower. Every one of them, what they see is a different perspective. Because of their different perspective, so the one that is person who is seeing from the east side, that appearance is not seen by the person who is in the west side. Right? They kind of like everybody will have a different view, different appearance. And so these 10 different appearance, what do you think? This flower appears to these 10 different people in a way. It is like it is like all these 10 appearance. Now there are 10 appearance. In reality, there's only one flower. They are all looking at one flower, but appearance, and so whose appearance is correct?
No one.
So all these 10 people, they are looking at the same flower, but no one has a complete appearance of the flower. They all see only the part of the flower, right? The part of the flower. So, see, this is why it is called the relative truth. So there is a 10 appearance. So these all 10 appearance is a relative truth, because each one of them is truth to themselves. So the one that is seen from the east side, whatever appearance is truth to the person who is looking from the east. Same thing it is, whatever thing, looking from the west one, whatever appearance of that flower is truth to that person looking from the west. So that doesn't mean there are 10 flowers, right? There are no 10 flowers, there's only one flower. So, see, now that is just a simple example, the existence and appearance. So now, if we look with that kind of example, what do you think? There is only one flower, right? The existence of the flower is only one flower, but the appearance of the flower is 10 appearance, right? There's a 10 appearance, because each one of these person have a different appearance. So this appearance of the flower, what is the connection? What is the connection between the appearance and the existence? And so the person who is looking from the east appears that much only. So what he projects is he thinks the flower is that way. The flower exists as I see. And all 10 of them are actually kind of like in their mind, conceptually, what they are thinking is, I see the flower. Right? I see the flower. So they all believe that whatever they see is true. Whatever they see is there. So in a reality, so what it is saying is, reality, none of these 10 people really sees the flower. What do you think? So that is what Master Shantideva is saying about the relative truth and the ultimate truth. So then the ultimate truth, what is the ultimate truth? So in the relative level, we cannot say that there is no flower. Flower is there. If we say the flower is not there, then it is kind of like we fall into nihilistic view, which is very dangerous. It's thinking that, okay, now there is no flower. So if you kind of starting to believe that if you fall into this kind of nihilistic view, then you become sort of like you will always fight with the nature, because everywhere that you see, we always kind of find the truth, right? There's a truth. So if you go against the nature, then kind of like it is not kind of like everything will fall down, right? So that is why going kind of being the nihilistic. If you believe that there is no flower, then it is a nihilistic, which is like you're totally going against the nature. In nature, there is flower they do exist. They do there. So it exists there. So that part is it exists there. That part is the relative truth. Okay, exist. But then ultimate truth. What is the ultimate truth of the flower now? Has anyone seen the ultimate truth of the flower? Right? It is it, for example, our eyes doesn't have a capability to see the complete flower because it depends on which direction you are going, because this it is just kind of like we might have to go all round and like a horizontally 360 degree and then vertically 360 degree, and then we also have to go inside the flower. Right? We also have to go, our eye has to go inside the flower. That's impossible. And at the same time, like to go around the flower vertically 360 degree, we can do it gradually, but simultaneously we cannot do that. Right? So simultaneously, it's like if you are here, then you go there, then it is like you just did it gradually. So that is why our eye, the physical eye, doesn't have the capability to see the complete flower in one take. In one take, you cannot see. So that means that so somehow we always rely, right? We always rely on our physical sense. We always rely that to be able to see. So then the question is, then does that mean that we cannot actually see the ultimate truth, the complete, total flower? Then the answer is no. You can actually see again. With what? So our five senses is like it's limited. You cannot see it. That is why we go a little bit beyond our five senses, which is the mental sense. Okay, so mind. So there's something called mind. So this mind has it is capable. So the mind can actually go in and see the flower, the existence of the flower, the complete flower, the true nature of the flower. Kind of like it doesn't have to go around. It doesn't have to go, above and below, like a vertical also. So somehow it's just kind of like a mind can actually go in and understand what is the truth of the flower. So just kind of like the wisdom. That is why wisdom is generated in our mind. Okay, wisdom is generated in our mind, not in our physical consciousness or physical sense, because you cannot. But mind has this power. Mind has this ability. So that is why generating the wisdom. So somehow Master Shantideva actually put that when he said knowing the truth, being aware of the truth. So supreme awareness. How does our awareness become supreme is by understanding the truth. And how can we understand the truth is first you have to understand that there are two truths, which is the relative truth and the ultimate truth. And then what is relative truth? What is ultimate truth? And then his own view is Prasangika view, which is the highest Buddhist school that they say Prasangika, which means nothing exists from its side. Everything exists from a projection of our mind. Sort of like everything projected, imputed with our mind, or just a label like that. So then it just kind of like when it goes into the in-depth chapter, it becomes little bit philosophical, because there are many people who actually described what is truth, right? Describe what is truth from a different philosophical point of view. And then he actually go in depth into explaining that all these views are actually incorrect. So many times this, his chapter, there's this kind of discussion. It is just like, if you think that way, then it will this is not correct, because if you say this, then you will lose this point or something like that. So that is kind of like how Shantideva in this chapter he actually presented that way. All right. So I am actually thinking this time, just because you already have the handout, right? So I will just kind of like read the chapter, so that we will go a little bit more in depth instead of me just explaining it. So there is some kind of base that we can all understand. Okay, so let us go into the handout, and if you can see here. So after the summary of the chapter, and then it goes into the second verses, right? So I will also use the Tibetan translation as well. The first verses is Yenla Dita Tamjenis, all these Tube Shirab Tendusung, all these kind of like Yenla means all the divisions, all the branches that I have, taught. Tube Shirab Tendusung. So this also, there is a debate in that one. Tube Shirab Tendusung means if it is for the sake of wisdom, Buddha taught all of this. What does that mean? What do you think? What is the meaning of that? Like for the sake of wisdom, that means to generate wisdom, you have to have all this other practice before, or without those practice, you will not have a wisdom. So is that the meaning that way? Like so there is like a debate in that. So that is also sometime just kind of like you give a thought on that. Okay, just kind of like a kind of saying that all these practice were taught by the Mighty One for the sake of wisdom, right? When you say for the sake of wisdom, like for example, you say that for the sake of this, to do this means it become like a cause, right? To be able to do this, you have to have those. So some master actually explained that maybe that is not the way. So because to generate the wisdom, you don't have to have the 5 practice, like you don't have to have a generosity practice to have a wisdom. Sometime wisdom will come first, and then the generosity practice will come later, right? It will depend on individual. So that is why just kind of like sometime in the Tibetan, when we go deep into the meaning, it's like a debate style, because if for example, for the sake of wisdom, if Buddha taught all the 5 perfection, does that mean that all the 5 perfection are kind of like necessary to generate the wisdom? And without the wisdom, then that means that without the wisdom, five perfections are not able to practice? Or which one is that? What is meant by the for the sake of wisdom? So there's like just for this word, there is a little bit of analysis there. So if you get some time to contemplate, so these are the things, for example, you just kind of don't leave the word as it says, but then really think of the meaning. Because when Shantideva wrote it, I think he wrote it by thinking each of the word has a different meaning, a different purpose, right? So this, to contemplate, to analyze the word, also sometimes, it is like a analytical meditation. So you just kind of like, this is easy to remember, right? The first stanza, all the all these practices were taught by the Mighty One for the sake of wisdom, and you just keep that in your, take this in your mind, and then go and then sit and relax, and then just think of this meaning. So what does that really means? What is meant by for the sake of wisdom? To be sherab tendu sung. Sherab tendu, Tibetan word is sherab tendu, means for the sake, for the purpose of wisdom. So that is a kind of like Gyaltsab Thamma Rinpoche, one of the main principal disciple of the Lama Tsongkhapa. He, I think that statue right here, the right side of the Lama Tsongkhapa, that master, he wrote one the commentaries on this Sherab Liu, the wisdom chapter, and he actually put that in the beginning as a debate that you have to analyze it. What does that means? And okay, so Tiichina Dungeta Shivaran Debe Sherab case. So Tiichinas. So Tiichinas like then right after that there is a one word coming therefore, right? Therefore. So all the practice are taught for the sake of wisdom. Therefore, so therefore means Tiichir. Because of that, right? Because of that. Then because of that, those who wish to pacify suffering should generate this wisdom. Should generate Sherab Ke. So here in the translation it says this wisdom, but I don't know. He just kind of, in the Tibetan word, it is not this. It's not showing this wisdom. It is showing just the wisdom, should generate the wisdom, like that, okay? Should generate the wisdom. Or maybe, he was trying to, the translator was trying to say that the wisdom that is necessary for the sixth perfection, maybe this wisdom, like that, So he's kind of specifying, right? So now coming to the second verse is recognition of the nature of wisdom. So if wisdom is so important, then what is the nature of the wisdom? So that is the recognizing, right? So ascertaining the true truth. So as I explained earlier, so to, the nature of the wisdom is the wisdom that understands the truth. And what is truth? Then when you understand the truth, you have to understand the truth in a two-way, ultimate truth and real, relative truth, like that. So this, the second verses is saying, so this is just short in Tibetan. So deceptive truth and the ultimate truth, they are the true truth. That is what in the text it says like that. So he actually went on a kind of like explaining a little bit more. Deceptive truth, so-called, because they are truth established from the point of view of deceived mind, right? That obscure the real meaning. So somehow we don't see the ultimate truth because the appearance is deceiving, because appearance come in between, and that is why it is called the deceive, like obscure the real meaning. The ultimate truth, so called, because they are truth comprehended by superior wisdom, to which no deceptive truth appears, are except as the true truth. Ultimate truths are not object experienced by the mind, but here the mind is to be understood as the deceptive mind that obscure one from seeing ultimate truth. So this Kunzo Tane Tendam Dine Demba Sude. So first he actually define the true truth, right? What is the like the truth, ultimate truth, reality truth, or relative truth. So then he was explaining the meaning of what is the ultimate truth and what is the relative truth. So this is a little bit confusing for many people, because in the exact word of the Shantideva, he said that Tendam means ultimate. Ultimate is not the object of mind, he said, kind of simply. And then means the one that is understood by the mind is the relative truth. So that So that creates a lot of debate within the Buddhist community, because there are many people actually explain this as a ultimate truth is ultimate truth cannot be understood. Because ultimate truth is not the object of mind. So somehow it is kind of like, if you directly, literally go like that, then it sounds like that, right? So that is why there are some Tibetan school really believe that there's kind of like ultimate truth is you cannot understand the ultimate truth. So there is no ultimate truth like that, So ultimate truth is there, but no ultimate. So it is kind of like yumin memin means kind of like it is neither exist nor non-exist. So that is kind of like that kind of philosophy was a little bit popular, even if you look back into the Tibetan history, in around 8th century when the Buddhism first came to Tibet, and then Buddhism, the Buddhist philosophy was kind of like it is kind of like going around, kind of like, and then some Chinese Hashang, the Zen masters from China, they starting to come to Tibet, and somehow many of their philosophy is based on Zen, sort of like Yumi Mimi, no mind. Zen is like very much like no mind, right? Even these days, if you go into the Zen practice, the Zen practice is very much based on no mind, sort of like, so they, if you go to the training in the Zen tradition, what they will tell you is no thinking. Don't think, right? Stop thinking. Why? Because conception is the obstacle. So as long as you have a thought, as long as you are thinking something that obscure your mind, it will kind of delude your mind. So that is why you just sit and then, whatever comes in your mind, just kind of don't pay attention to it, and then just let it go, and no thought, no mind, sort of like, so that kind of philosophy actually came in Tibet. And also like this, sometimes they actually quote this, it is true, because see, look at the Shantideva said this. So then later actually Master Tsongkhapa actually explained it in a little different way, So what is he saying is means the ultimate truth is not comprehended by deluded mind or deceptive mind. The conceptual, it cannot be understood conceptually. So that is a kind of like he's not just saying it because Buddha actually said, when he made the explained the truth, he said that masam jeme means it is the ultimate truth is inconceivable, right? Inconceivable. Ultimate truth is inexpressible. You cannot express that in word, and you cannot conceptualize in your mind. So the one very good example that Buddha actually gave was saying that ultimate truth is something that you have to experience. It is not something to be sort of like conceptually understood. So, and the one example that Buddha actually gave is the kind of like the sweet. For example, now these days we can give this example. Like, for example, if you haven't tasted chocolate at all, right? And then I give you a chocolate in your mouth, and then you experience the chocolate. And then if I ask you, can you explain how it tastes? Right? Put it into word. Can you put that into word? How does it taste? You can explain many things, right? You can explain like, it tastes like a burn. And then what kind of idea I will get? I will get, okay, so that's kind of like a smoky, right? And so like really, It is just kind of like with the word, I cannot create a correct explanation that you will know how actually it tastes. How it tastes. So to be able to explain this, what you have to do is just okay, put that in that person's mouth. It tastes like this. Right? So that is the kind of like, even like a small mundane truth is like we cannot express in word. So that is why the ultimate truth of the existence, the ultimate truth of the reality is inexpressible. That's why Buddha said, Masam Jeme, Sheraparuchin, means it is Mao means with the word, you cannot put it together. Samba means conceptualize, you cannot conceptualize. So, Masam Jeme, so that is what I think here Master Shantideva is trying to say that. It is not Masam Jeme, but that doesn't mean that you cannot express emptiness word, but you can say emptiness or truth, right? We say the word truth, but then word truth is that the truth? Right? No, it's not the truth, right? For example, when we say we can say cow, so and there's no cow in this room right now, but I can still say the cow, and you can hear the cow, and the word is here. The name of the cow is here. The sound of the cow is here, but the cow is not here, right? So that is why it is kind of like interesting. For example, like if I say something about cow, and you have some sort of like a very strong emotional attached towards the cow, and if I use some kind of abusive word to the cow, what will you feel? You will feel like I'm abusing the cow, right? It's like so see, that is the kind of deception. Our mind, conceptual mind, take the word cow as a real cow, and even though I'm not doing anything to the cow, like just putting some word, and that in our daily life we do that. We, like for example, if someone just kind of like talk something bad about you in the back, and they're just mentioning your name, right? And they're gossiping about you. And then, we heard, from other people, they are talking something really bad about you. And we take that as an abusive kind of word, right? And it's just kind of like we are too attached to the idea. And so they say something about the word, in the word, but it is really sort of like we kind of somehow, it is a little deceptive. It is just the name, it is just the appearance, and something that is an idea, and then we take that as, that, but in reality, that is not me at all, right? That's not me at all. So that is kind of like sometimes how it is helpful is understanding the wisdom, how to bring that into daily life is kind of like that. So somehow, so ultimate truth, the reality, the existence is not, cannot be comprehended by the conceptual mind. That is the meaning of how the Lama Tsongkhapa and many of the Gelug master actually kind of explain it that way. And then the second line, actually the fourth line, right? The Lo Nikunzo Himba Je means so whatever is conceived or able to be conceived by conceptual mind are relative truth. That's the meaning. Like so, that is how you actually look at how you define these verses. Okay. So there are many things here in the number 3, right? The number 3. So the two types of person are seen. So who experience, right? Now who experience this truth? So two type of person seen, experience these two truth. So one is the yogi endowed with the concentration of superior insight and karma abiding. and common people. Common people means sort of like people who are not learned or didn't learn anything, who are not so endowed with this, understanding. Can you get it? It is on the first page here.
Yeah.
First page. So I'm just going from the beginning. Okay, so the verses 3, where it says number 3, two type of person are seen to experience the true truth. Who are they? Yogi endowed with a concentration of superior insight and calm abiding, and then common people who are not endowed with those superior qualities. And common people consider the body to be a unit. So generally, common people means the people who doesn't learn anything, and generally, there are how do we think of ourselves? Like the person part, right? We are the person. So when you say I am, so I am just kind of like consider the body to be unit, or just kind of like a one unit, or the mind to be the permanent, and so forth. So some people, some people believe that this unit of the body, right? The what do you call the totalness of this, and that is normally most of us are falling into this category. We think that we ourselves think that we identify ourselves mostly with the body, right? It is a one unit of a body, and then we actually identify other people as a person also, and in a form of unit as a body, right? If there is no body, then we kind of consider that the person is not there. But in reality, the body is just the surface of our being, right? Just the surface of our being. On the surface, yes, there is our body. And then, if we look into the ocean, what is the ocean? What we see as the ocean is just the wave, right? That the wave that we see, the outside part. But the real ocean is not just that one, right? I think it is it's kind of like a, different. You cannot explain it. But anyway, so we as a person, we think that physical unit, the unit, just kind of physical body unit, we kind of identify. And then some people actually, they go a little bit further, and then they actually say that, okay, we are not just body, we have a something beyond our body that is like a soul, or kind of like atma, the kind of it is like a part of mind, and then sort of there is some kind of permanent self, the permanent self that is actually came from the past life, it's into this life, and then from this life it will go into next life. So these kind of people who are believing that, they are not just believing that I'm just the body, right? Because there is something that travel from one life to another life, right? So these are also considered to be common people. So that is what here it is saying. So yogi, however, contradict these views with reasoning such as the body is not a unit because it has many parts, and the mind is not permanent because it changes into something else. So these are all sort of contradict with the reality. So these are not really, how it exists. So that is why common people's view is many times we kind of deceived by these kind of views, So then verses number 4, right? Dela jigden namni to nenjo paya pebo, dela jigden peba nenjo jigden kinwe jings. So somehow this is not the truth, because the person who actually understand the reality, they actually don't understand as the common people think like that. That's what the meaning. Then the 4th verses is saying, nenjo payan lo yege koma namge niga yanen debebe debut tendu machechirs. So this is number 4. So furthermore, among the yogi, that is the proponent of external existence, the Chitramatran, so that is the mind-only school, and the Madhyamikas, they are different in their understanding of the nature of knowable entities. Thereby, those with the higher views progressively contradict those with the lower views. With examples such as the magician illusion, which are accepted as unreal by both yogi and common people, it is proven to the proponents of external existence that although something may appear to their mind, it does not have to be real. Thus, if mind of the yogi can establish as deceptive, it goes without saying that the same can be established about the mind by the common people. So, this is kind of like what it is saying is means when we trying to establish the truth, there are a few different level of school. So all these different schools are kind of like contradicted by the higher school. They refuted all of them one by one. So for example, even in the Buddhist school, there is like the Sautrantika, and the Vaibhashika, sort of like the lower one. They actually kind of like believe, they actually kind of like, what do you call their view, right? Their view is that the ultimate truth is for example, ultimate truth is the one that even though you destroy it, even it still remain the entity of it. For example, this cup is relative truth, they say. Why? Because if I break this cup, then it is no more cup, right? And then there are other things like, for example, wood, right? The wood, like so if there is a piece of wood, and even if I cut this into pieces of wood, still it doesn't kind of leave the nature of wood. Still it is a wood, right? If I cut the wood into two pieces, then it is still a wood. So that kind of thing is called the ultimate truth. So they actually kind of like define ultimate truth in a different way. But then later, kind of like like a higher school will kind of say that is not the ultimate truth. Ultimate truth is it's a different. That is, if something is functionable, then that is ultimate truth. And if something that is not functionable, such as like the space and sky, then they are relative truth, and something like. So there is a different way of explaining what is the ultimate truth, and then it comes to the mind-only school. So then the mind-only school say, what is the truth? Is there is nothing outside. There is nothing outside. Everything is in your mind, and then whatever it appear is the existence. So that is the relative truth. And then when you understand that nothing exists outside, then that is the non-existence of the outside things itself is the ultimate truth. So that's like so there is a little bit confusing, to go into if you don't have a background understanding of all these different Buddhist school. So I'm just kind of like giving you different name, because I think this is not the important part. Just it is a part of this. Part of this understanding the wisdom. So I think this is here he is saying like that. So means so somehow everyone like for example like the Madhyamika Shantideva himself, what is he saying is nothing exists inherently, right? Nothing exists inherently. So like if they kind of disagree, if they debate with him saying that then if nothing exists inherently, how can you establish that nothing exists inherently? And he said that there is an example. What is the example? Example is the illusion. Like illusion or the reflection of your face on the mirror, right? For example, when you look into the mirror, you can actually exactly see how your face is, right, in the mirror. But you see, exactly your face there, but in reality, your face is not there, right? Your face is not inside the mirror, right? What is there is there's a reflection of your face there, but that's why, for example, like sometimes you show the what do you call the mirror to the cat, and they will always go back and see if there's something there, right? They get kind of little, sort of like what they see is exactly you see, right? It's a deceiving. So that is the example. Illusion also, for example, if some magician, like they do the trick or they do some kind of spell, and they turn the flower into a bird, right? And that's just like it tricks your mind, right? It just tricks your mind. So it is not actually flower. In reality, flower didn't turn into bird, right? It just it appears in our eyes that the flower turns into a bird, something like that. So that is why it's saying means so there is a common. We both have a what do you call example, like the illusion and so forth. That is why nothing exists. And then means the last one is kind of like so if nothing exists, if it is all like illusion, then what is the point of achieving something, trying to achieve something? So it is saying that so this is a very little bit deep actually, saying that everything exists as kind of like they are. If you investigate, they will not exist. So it's just kind of without analysis, you can just leave it. Without analysis, if you just kind of say, okay, there is a flower, okay, there is so just kind of like you just have to leave it without analyzing. So without analyzing, then everything sort of like work and everything exists. That's what he's saying. All right. Okay, so now where we are. So refuting object concerning deceptive truth. Question. So now there is a debate kind of thing. Question is, if all phenomena are not truly exist, not inherently exist, there would be a attainment, right? There would be a no attainment, awakening from the practice of giving and so forth. Therefore, what reason would there be to practice them for the purpose? I think that's we just finished, right? So answer is, although phenomena do not exist ultimately, that is truly because unanalyzed they do exist deceptively. See, unanalytically. It is not contradictory to engage in the practice of giving and so forth for the sake of obtaining the fruit of awakening. So one, for example, for achieving, right, to achieve something like the awakening and to enlightenment, then you practice kind of those things, but that is you cannot refute that. That's what it is saying. So question is, another question. Since phenomena appear to both yogis and common people, why should there be any dispute over them, right? So why would the yogi and the common people, why are they not agreeing with each other? What is the point? So answer is, although they are similar in appearance, common people behold forms and other things and conceive of them to be really existence, right? So they do not understand them to be like an illusion. But since yogi do understand them to exist in such a way, it is here that the yogi and the common people disagree. So that is why they disagree with each other. And then this number 6 question. Since form and so forth are established by true perceptions, isn't it contradictory to say that they are false? So forms and so forth means our body, right? Our body, su, and form is like a su, da means form, sound, smell, and taste, established by the perception, right? The five senses actually establish that. Isn't it contradictory to say that they are false? So how can you say that the form, sound, they are all false? They are kind of like this. They are kind of debating. They are saying, how can it be false? Because it is there. I see it with my own eyes. I hear it with my ears, like that. So answer is, there is no contradiction. So Shantideva is saying there is no contradiction, because such things are merely worldly convention, but they are not true of a valid cognition of ultimate truth. This is just like the unclean body being known deceptively as a clean. In fact, such a cognition is false. So just generally, it is kind of saying that many things in the samsara, we actually they are not clean, but somehow our mind kind of made it like, oh, this is perfect and this is good, and we get attachment, right? Sort of like so somehow like we get attachment to the things that we think that, oh, this is something very attractive, but in reality maybe it is not so attractive or not so good. Right? We just kind of, our mind kind of project that it is good, and then kind of like we believe on our own projection and things like that. That's what it is saying. And then if all phenomena have no true nature, why did the Buddha say that things have a momentarily impermanent nature? So they are trying to contradict. So if things are not sort of like if they are not inherently exist, if they are like their nature it not exists inherently, how come Buddha said it like it is inherently exists? Because he said that all the things are impermanence, right? In some book or text of the scripture, Buddha said that everything is impermanence, right? Especially when he was doing the the first turning of the wheel, when he taught the Four Noble Truths. And in the Four Noble Truths, one of the main thing is the Buddha was saying that everything is impermanence, right? So mitappa. So that is what they are trying to say. Then why did Buddha say that everything is impermanent nature? So such statement have to be interpreted. So that is saying, whatever Buddha saying that they are impermanence inherently, doesn't mean, he didn't mean that. That's what he's saying. Interpret it. Having in mind that mere appearance nature, so the protector Buddha taught things to be impermanent for the sake of progressively guiding ordinary people who conceive of true existence toward a correct understanding. But in actuality, such things are not truly momentary. So this is a kind of little bit confusing, right? What is meant by truly? Truly means ultimate, that's what he's saying. Truly means ultimate. Even though everything is impermanence, so Shantideva is saying they are not truly impermanence. So not truly impermanence means kind of like a not ultimate, ultimately impermanence. So for example, if we say the flower, right, bring the flower back here again, example. So what do you think? The flower is impermanence or permanence? So we say impermanence, right? It is changing momentarily. So this changing momentarily nature of the flower, is it that way from its side? So we think like that is that way, right? We always say, okay, everything is changing, that is the nature, right? So Shantideva is actually saying in a little bit different approach, saying even though it is an impermanence, the impermanence nature is not truly impermanence, not ultimately impermanence. If it is ultimately truly impermanence, means it is impermanence by itself. So it become impermanence not by itself. Why? Because it become impermanence because of the causes. You understand? Because it is impermanence because there is some cause that make it impermanence. So because of the cause, so that is why the flower become impermanence because of the cause. So causes make them impermanence. So if it is truly impermanence, it should be impermanence by itself without any cause. See, now that is a kind of little bit difficult to understand, but still you can. Right? We're just talking about flower. Normally we just kind of don't investigate that, right? We don't investigate the ultimate nature, right? So it's just kind of like, so that is also like, I just give the example in for the flower, but think about our own life. The flower has nothing to do with our the way of our life, but then bring that example and bring this into our own life, sort of. So it is like, okay, Buddha said that life is impermanence, right? So life is impermanence by itself, or it is impermanence because of the cause and conditions. So it is because of the cause and condition, our life is impermanence, right? So our life is changing because there are so many other factors and conditions that is actually making our life change, right? Making our life change. So that is why the changing nature of the life is not truly changing. It is not, it is like, it is not changing by itself. That is what it means. Changing by some other factors. So that is what actually Shantideva is saying here. So this is many times it's very difficult to understand, when we explain this the wisdom chapter. So what is Shantideva saying? is it like he's saying, okay, this is impermanence, but it is not truly impermanence? Or what is this? So it is saying that it is impermanence from other factors. It is not impermanence from its own. So then, again, so this actually also go a little bit deeper. Now, again, if you go a little bit further, so things are, right, things are like flower is not inherently exist, right? So then the question again comes, the flower is not inherently exist by itself or not, then again. It is not inherently exist by itself. Then, you are saying that the emptiness is the inherently exist one, right? So that is why Buddha taught even the emptiness is emptiness. So there's an emptiness of emptiness. Why? Because the ultimate nature of the flower, which is the not inherently exists, but it is not inherently exists not by itself. Even that is made by other conditions. Other things made it not inherently exist. So this is a very kind of what you call thought-boggling or mind-boggling, because there is a many discussion happens in the Buddhist text if you really go into the meaning of this. So here actually we are actually talking about the impermanence nature, but you can actually go into the not inherently exist nature again there. All right, so I think we are running out of time here. It's 9:12, right? So I will go read a little bit more. Okay. The question, but because this momentary nature does not appear to ordinary people, is it not a contradiction to say it even exists deceptively? So answer is, although it does not appear to the common person, right? The common people who doesn't meditate, they cannot see because they think that, like for example, if you see someone in the morning and then you meet that person in the evening, you said that I saw you in the morning, right? It's just kind of pointing to that person and saying I saw you in the morning. So, but actually in a reality there's a difference, right? What you see in the morning is you're not seeing that person again, but there's a kind of like a permanent, we are bringing that permanent entity, right? The permanent entity. And again, it sometimes goes a little bit further too. Last year I saw you, right? And so it's like, did you see this person that you're seeing last year? You saw a person last year, and that person, like how we take that, we identify that person and this person is the same, right? In reality, the question is, are they same? There's a big change, right? The one, like for example, then we go back into the childhood. You see, there's like, okay, this child, you meet that person when that person was a child, and then after a few years you're meeting it, as an old man or woman. So, that person that you met, our mind will actually think that, oh, I met you. So do you mean I met this adult before? You never met this adult before. You only see that person as a child, right? You only saw the child. But then we kind of somehow we connect this, right? We connect it. Why? Because there is some permanent entity, right? The permanent entity that we are bringing between these two people connection, one, the adult and the baby. So that is a little bit, I don't know, again, mind-boggling. So anyway, although it does not appear to the common people, because it appeared to those yogi who have merely seen personal identitylessness, there is no mistake in its being deceptive truth. So this is, generally it is a deceptive truth. That is what he's saying. Impermanent nature of the things is not the ultimate truth. So then the question is, but doesn't this contradict the statement that to see the momentary nature of thing is to see the truth itself? So the answer is, compared to the worldly view of things as permanent and so forth, the yogi's vision of momentariness is posited as a vision of reality itself. Otherwise, if in comparison to the yogis, the common people saw reality, then the yogi definite understanding of uncleanliness of so I think here is because it is talking about the monk, because the monk Shantideva himself, he's talking about somehow if someone has a very strong, for example, say a man, right, man who has a very strong attachment towards the woman, right, so what they actually, when they have the attachment to the woman's body, their attachment thinks that it's just perfect, right? Sort of oh, this is perfect. So here he is actually bringing the example of saying that someone who is a monk, so the monk, sometime in the monastery, what they do in the ancient tradition is that to actually overcome this lust or attachment towards the woman's body, so what they do is they meditate. Okay, they meditate oh, this is not perfect, right? So I think it's just because Shantideva himself is a monk, he's talking about that. So if it can also go opposite way too. If someone, if you are a woman practitioner and who has a strong attachment towards the man's body, then again you can, kind of it goes both ways, sort of to able to sort of for example, in the monastery there's a monk, right, and then in the nunnery there are nuns, so the nuns have this kind of the female body, right? So if they want to kind of they want to overcome this attachment towards the the opposite sex, which is the male, then if they want to overcome that, then they have to meditate, right? They have to meditate on the sort of imperfection and uncleanliness of the body, sort of like that. So sometimes people take that as oh, why he is being little bit talking about women only here. So this is sometime in that Sanskrit translation, it's not only woman, I think it is human. I think it is not the human body, sort of a human, but somehow if you look at the attachment take the body as a very clean, right, very perfect, and everything is so kind of perfect, so attachment, that is why the attachment goes after that, right? It is just they want each and everything, because they don't see the negative side of it, right? So that is what I think he is saying, contradicted by the worldly person apprehension of it is as a clean. So the question, if all phenomena were not truly existent, then since the Buddha too would be false, would no merit occur from worshipping him? So that's a good question, right? So if Buddha is like an illusion, then what is the point of worshipping him? That's what he's saying, the question, So he's saying, in the same way that for you, truly existent merit occur from worshipping the truly existent conqueror, Buddha, similarly for us, illusion-like merits are obtained from worshipping an illusion-like conqueror. So that's why illusion-like. So that is everything is illusion-like. So, there's no contradiction. If you, the merit, all the merits are illusion-like. So Buddha is also illusion-like. The person who is worshipping is also illusion-like. So everything is like illusion-like, So this is illusion-like is more important because sometimes people say, oh, Buddha said everything is illusion. Buddha never said everything is illusion. Okay, so that is the wrong statement. There is always when Buddha used the word, he always used tabu. Tabu means jumat tabu. Tabu means just like an illusion. That is the exact word. So sometimes people misinterpret. Oh, Buddha said everything is like an illusion. No, Buddha said everything is illusion. And Buddha never said everything is illusion, because that is the wrong statement. He said it is like an illusion, So, myself is like an illusion. You are like an illusion. Everything is like an illusion. That's what he's saying. Okay. So I think we can stop here tonight. I think, yeah. So if you have any question, then anything that you want a little bit clarification, then you can, I can give you this opportunity to ask. If not, then it's fine. Okay. Okay, let's conclude this for tonight. Okay. Dage jinye saben ke wande tendan roa kun la kamben da kebran ji zo losan. Tembe nyingbo rendo seje sho.
This is a short mandala offering. It's on page 11 of the big book. Page 11, short mandala offering. Za Choeje And then the back cover, the last page, the short dedication prayer.
Now it's working. Choeje ma gya ba gya gya nya ba gyo be cho de ne yin je chen bu yi ra kyo ba yi pen de se wa che ba sho da ba la na me be ten ba dan je wa de la me de yin be Gewa di yan rowa maluba, zinye wamba zimbe gyuro no, kari rawe kome shindande, pendande wa malu jungwe me, chere se wa tenzi kya soyi, chabe se de badu ten gyuchi, Son san so dam be su gu yin, yon zhu den la ten pe pe yon zhu, on re san me pe gu jong ba la, dam me den be pe do sha de sho, pa wa zen che tam che de dan den gyu ro ji, ngen ro dam che ta do tong wa dam, Chanju senpa kana su shu pa, te ra kun ge mo lan ju gyu ji. Chanju senju rinpoche, ma ye pa na ge gyu ji. Keba Nyangwa Me Bayang Kone Kondu